have such sights to show you.
You're all going to die tonight.
Good evening, my sweet tortured souls, and welcome back to another shape-changing episode of Miss Violet's Underworld, Deeper and Darker. Joining me, as always, the speaker, Jimmy Clifford. How are you doing, honey?
I'm all right. I'm feeling much better. Sorry about the bit of a gap.
Yeah,
Health,
neither of
other
us were
things.
really in much spirits to film last week.
Yes.
The passing of a certain Prince of Darkness,
A definite legend.
compounded with already fragile emotional states. That's all I will say.
Yeah.
We
And then on top of that, physical illness on this end.
Yes, neither of us were in a position to get in front of the camera and film.
No.
So we didn't.
Oh.
But rolling on with this week's episode, we're going to listen to the screams of the damned from the comments section. Up first on our Evil Dead episode, it is the man, the myth, the beard, the Ginger Ninja JK, the man from down under himself. And he says, Klaatu Barada Nickel Necktie. Did I get that right? He does like his way through it.
Yeah.
Kind of funny. I love the Evil Dead franchise. The OG three films, fantastic. The Evil Dead is, as you said, a masterclass in low budget filmmaking. It bloody is. Like, just watch how the scenes are shot and everything. It is, yeah. Where was I? Yeah. Breaking them down, I would say that Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, then Evil Dead would be my personal ranking. Not that I really dislike either one over the other, just my preference. They are all just great films for different reasons, as they have different styles. Sorry, yes, different reasons, different styles. Great vid. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And then up next, we have a short comment from Tony.
Yeah, sure one.
Evening, guys. Hold the front page. I just did a Cali trick. I typed a mammoth comment, and right at the end, YouTube went on to the next video. And when I went back, it disappeared. Retyping it all again, and I'll be with you in 10 minutes maximum. And literally about 10, 15 minutes later, we did get the full comment. Taking the top spot of the week for the biggest, lengthiest, girthiest comments we've had in a good long while. So thank you, Tony Harris from the Retro Movie Zone, the Calico Crichton, the son of the Pertwee, the gap-toothed Tony Harris over there.
Yeah, when he makes up for not commenting, he certainly makes up.
I've got many, many names for Tony.
Yeah.
Here we go. Evening, guys. Great vid as always, and being about the Evil Dead trilogy made it even more enjoyable for me. I'm going to need a drink before this one. I do apologize.
Yeah, no, I think you're going to need that drink. And yeah, thank you, because it was enjoyable to watch as well, Tony. First timer.
Right, where to start? Let me just say right from the get-go that I've only seen the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn. For some reason, Army of Darkness never appealed to me. I have no clue why, but something about it just didn't click with me. I'll start with the Evil Dead. Best place to start at the beginning, a very good place to start.
Actually.
Yes. Yeah, The Evil Dead, Sam Raimi's classic original, which I've seen many times. Pure horror brilliance, and made even more so when you realize the tiny budget Raimi had to work with. Yes.
Yes, tiny budget.
To get the quality of special effects and still achieve that feeling of dread that runs right through the movie was amazing. I remember it getting caught up in all of that video nasty nonsense in the mid-80s, which, as you say, made everyone want to see it even more. Ban something, and what happens? Everyone wants to watch it.
Yeah.
And that includes me. I remember watching that original Palace video VHS tape many times before it was outlawed and loved it. Yes, the gore level shocked me, but I still loved it. Watching Watching Evil Dead, I remember thinking we've never seen anything quite like it before. And if Raimi set the benchmark for future movies in the genre this high, it'll be a while until we see anything that come even close to this movie.
Yeah.
Was giving us a stone cold classic for sure. Yes. Oh, yeah, the first movie is just pure cinema classic. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the video nasty thing. I did actually watch a documentary about this on Prime recently. It was called "Ban the Sadist Videos." It's like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But the way they were talking about stuff in that, and they said that yes, the first Evil Dead film did get put on the video nasty list, but it was one of those films that the censors didn't quite catch before it hit release. So the censors went back over all these films that were put onto the video nasty list and deemed that some of them, although very intensely gory, did not meet the criteria because there was a whole criteria set out of why a film should be banned. And The Evil Dead didn't actually meet any of them. So they were like, oh, well, if it doesn't meet those standards, yes, it's a very gory, violent film. But compared to other ones on the list, it's tame as shit.
Yeah.
You know, there was films about just go watch the documentary. It's really, really good. It's really worth a watch. But yeah, I was like, it was on the list for a little while, but then got let off of it. But like Tony said, the minute that it popped in the newspapers, Evil Dead video nasties, I was like, oh,
it's that classic with your parents, isn't it? Don't do that. What's the first thing you do?
You do it.
You go and do that. Why don't I do that? Let's find out.
But yes, continuing on with Tony's mammoth of a fucking
Mammoth
we got here. Right, I need to find where I was, so just keep me a minute. My enduring memory of Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, is of it being the first movie Rob ever took me to see. I think it was the ABC in Derby. We lived over there at the time, and it was way back in 1987. Make us feel old, Tony. Thank you. Believe it or not, I was even more of a sensitive little flower than I am now. So while the rest of the audience, including Rob, laughed and shrieked all the way through it, I watched most of it either through my fingers or with my fingers stuffed in my ears. I thought it was horrible, even though I sat through the original a few times. For some reason, this one really got to me. With the passing of time, I've come to appreciate it a lot more, and nowadays I love it. I love it so all's well. That ends well.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, another Stone Cold classic. We said everything we needed to say about The Evil Dead 2 in the episode. So if you've not watched that one, folks, backtrack a couple of weeks ago, watch it. Shameless plug.
Shameless plugs. We have the shameless plug.
Yes, I have many a plug, but I'm not saying any more about those. Anyway, Army of Darkness, I now want to see, having heard you folks talk about it. I also think it's time to give this third movie a chance. I have the trilogy on DVD upstairs, so I'll dig it out. We've heard that before.
Yeah.
I've
got Nightbreed, Tony. It's going to stay there in the back till you've watched that one.
I didn't realize there were all those different cuts of the movies out there, so I'll go with the version I have in that box set. Apart from the Fede Alvarez reboot from 2013, I thought it was 2008. My dates are always a little bit off.
It could be the Wikipedia thing. It could be there's a lot of dates.
Could just be me misremembering. I think it was announced in 2008 and came out in 2013. I don't remember.
You know the trivia better than I do, so I'm not going to comment on that.
Tangent alert here, stealing from Hunya Geek is showing tangent alert here, but I was one of those people who, when the remake, loosely a remake, was first announced, I was one of those people going, no. But then I picked it up by chance on a Blu-ray. I picked up like a bargain bin for like a couple of quid. It was like, I've not watched it. Let's give it a chance. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed it because it did that one thing I think a lot of films should do. It used a lot of practical effects enhanced with digital effects. So you kind of got the best of both worlds, which is what I like.
Which will again come up
We're
later
going to
in this
get into
episode.
that a lot in a little bit when we
In
get
a little bit.
when we get into the meat of the episode. Yeah, that's going to come up an awful lot. But
Yeah.
bear with us. Back to Tony's comment. Yeah, 2013. I've seen none of the subsequent installments. I thought that reboot was brilliantly done, but the gore levels were definitely off the charts. As for Evil Dead Rise, I don't think I'd make it past the notorious cheese grater scene, so I've kind of put off watching that one. And I've never seen Ash versus Evil Dead, even though it's been on my radar since I got Netflix. So that's a definite possibility for a watch, as I think we both enjoy that series. Evil Dead Rise, full disclosure, not watched it. Mainly because at the time it came out, I stupidly was like, no, I'm taking a step back from horror. I don't want to do horror. I don't want to be the horror chick. And
You?
then I decided, no, fuck it. I'm going to throw myself fully into the world of horror. And it's just one of those ones that it's on my watch list. I just haven't got round to watching it because when watching a new film, I have to be in that right kind of headspace to take in the story it's trying to tell me. When watching an older film, it's okay if I mentally dip in and out. If I check my phone, if I get up and go to the toilet, if I get up and make a cup of tea, if I get up and have a smoke, I don't mind missing those bits because I've seen it. I've seen it before. I've seen it 1,000 times. I don't need to watch it scene by scene. When it's something new, I need to be in that, right, I need to sit down and just watch a film.
Yes.
So Evil Dead Rise is on my list. I will get it watched just so I can say I've seen them all because it's the only one I've not seen. But
And I haven't watched it either, Tone, because
that's why we didn't talk
that's
about
why
it.
I'm here. First watchers.
Yes, and that's why we didn't talk about it in the episode because neither of us had seen it. I considered like putting it on the list to include, but I was like, no, I want to focus on the original trilogy because
That's what we're kind of doing here. We're still dipping in and out because of me.
It's not just that, but with the Evil Dead, after the third film, there was nothing for about 15, 20 freaking years.
Yeah.
So I consider them to be like in little blocks. You've got the OG trilogy, then you've got the remake and Rise, and then you've got Ash versus Evil Dead. They're all their own, one links to the other, but not quite to that one. And yeah,
that will help me this week if you get a chance to watch the series itself. That you let me
off with saying, great episode, guys. As always, loving this season, and I'm already looking forward to the next episode. Hope life's treating you both well, like a roller coaster.
It's just a ride, just like Bill Hicks said. It's ups, downs, rounds. It's like a ride.
And I'll catch you all again very soon. Toodle pip. Thank you very much, Tony, for the love, as I always say. And on to the meat of tonight's episode.
The very meat.
Yes, we took a dip into the frozen and Arctic and come across a few things we weren't expecting to see.
Yeah, literally.
Of course, talking the Thing franchise. Now, we are only talking the 1982 remake and the 2011 prequel, both called The Thing. I am fully aware that there is The Thing from Another World from 1954, a Howard Hawks movie.
52. I found that out. It's 52.
Sorry, 52. I get see dates off. I'm always off by a year or two.
It's all right.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss that one because they are so different tonistically, thematically, even plot wise to a certain extent. They're so different. I didn't want to be like, well, Carpenter did it better than this one, but this one is good.
They are so different that they are their own thing.
Yes, but for our viewing order for tonight, I decided to let's have Jimmy explore the story from point A to point D, with the B and C being the films. So we went with the 2011 film because, as I stated, it is a prequel.
Yeah.
And then we went on to the original 82 movie. And I did this specifically because I wanted Jimmy to see the horrors of what happens when a studio does not keep its fucking nose and does not,
Where it belongs.
not keep its nose out and doesn't go, well, wait a minute. If it's a sequel to an 80s film, it's not such a bad thing if it looks like an 80s film. But we are, of course, visual aids, The Thing, 2011. I have the stats right here. The Thing, 2011, released October 14th, 2011. Budget, 38 million. Box office, 31.5.
And that's why you're down in Sophia, folks.
Yes, and it's considered a fucking flop. But
Yeah.
this film did star Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Joel Edgerton, and Ulrich Thompson. And I was going to write the full cast down, and I looked at some of them, and I was like, I am not going to pronounce any of these
They're
names.
Norwegian folks. A lot of
They're
them
mostly
are Norwegian or
And there's one random South African name thrown in there just for good measure.
Underworld.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not going to list all the names because with my dyslexia, I was not going to try and pronounce half of them. So that's just the basic bare bones of the cast, the big names that are in it. But this film, for me, I've seen it several times. I watched it when it first came out because I was one of those ones who was like, do you know what? That's an interesting premise because the story for this one is in the original Thing, they go to a Norwegian camp that's destroyed, burnt down. They find these monsters and stuff. Jumping ahead there. But in this one, it tells you the story of that Norwegian camp, of them first discovering the alien ship and the alien body frozen in the ice.
Ground Zero.
And I'm normally one of those ones like, I don't like prequels. But I'd played the video game that followed on from the original film. We'll talk more about that later.
You know more about that.
Yes, we will talk more about that later. So I was one of those ones that's like, well, if you take it as one long canon where if this is the first chapter,
yeah,
this is the second chapter, and the video game's the third chapter in an overarching story.
Technically, yeah.
You know, then I'm okay with finding out what happened at that Norwegian base.
Yeah, all right with the prequel.
It does raise a few continuity things, like it raises up the fact that the Thing can't copy inorganic matter. And they check people by their fillings, which I was back and forth on that one of whether or not that was like, is that a good way of telling if someone's a Thing or not? Like, just because someone has good dental hygiene doesn't mean you should shoot them in the face. You know, it was kind of that, I don't know how I feel about that. But the moments that it had to set up and the homages that it pays to the original film are kind of spot on. Like the bit with the axe in the wall, like how that ended up there in the original. It's just there, no explanation given. This kind of gives you that. Oh, that's how that ended up there, and that's how that guy ended up in that room with the. I'm not going to talk about the scene because YouTube might fuck with me on that one. But you know the scene where he's in the chair.
He's just taking a seat.
Yeah. Which
needs a break.
Again, carries over into the original.
Yeah.
I like it for those moments. But before we get onto the big CGI elephant in the room, Jimmy, your first thoughts on watching The Thing 2011 for the first time in 2025?
I like this film for the most part. The acting's fine. The acting's on. They've got some pretty decent guys in there. I mean, and they've done some really good stuff background wise. I mean, there's again, I'm not going to pronounce his last name. His first name's Christopher, but I can't pronounce the Norwegian last name. But you will know him as Tormund Giantsbane.
Yes, from Game of Thrones. Yes,
he's very recognisable. It took me a little bit to cotton on to Mary
Elizabeth Winstead. Yes, she was
because that's Ramona Flowers.
Yes,
she's grown up
Flowers from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Yes,
and Joel, I think it's Erdington. He's Australian.
Yes, I've seen him in a
Funnily
fair
enough,
few things. He's one of
funnily
those
enough, not
actors.
to spoil it, like he actually played Owen Lars from Star Wars, which is Luke's uncle. And
Yeah,
considering the ending with the flamethrower,
yeah.
is that kind of an Easter egg?
Like, oh, you don't catch a break, do you, Uncle Owen?
You know what I mean? Considering the ending he has.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
no,
what happens to him in the film. Yeah,
yeah, considering that actor who played that character. So minor tangent there. But no,
maybe he's like the next generation of Sean Bean, where Sean Bean gets killed in every film he's in. This guy, every film he's in, he's gonna get
you
burnt
could
to
do
death.
worse.
He's gonna get
You
burnt
could
to death
do
in every
worse,
film he's
Sean
in.
Bean. Could
Yeah,
do worse than that.
yeah, exactly. I mean, hell, if that's your one trait as an actor, that every film you're in, you get burnt to death, run
Yeah,
with it.
run
Get
with
hired
it.
for it. You get an interview to do a film, and your first question as an actor should be,
Do I
"Am I
get
going to get
burned?
set on fire in this film?" Well, we didn't plan on it. Right, well, I'm not doing it then. That's my thing. If you're not set on
That's
fire,
my thing. Yeah, you've got to think. But no, no, it's a good film. It was a
the
good
story's good.
the story. No, yeah, exactly that. The story's good. The idea of the fillings. You say certain continuity errors. The only one continuity error is something to do with footage from. We'll talk about it in the 80.
Yes,
The
yes, that continuity error.
that little continuity error surrounding the
Yeah,
spaceship.
yes, we will talk about that when we get to
But
the.
we'll talk more about getting to that. But
Yeah,
the actual overall premise of the film's good.
yeah,
I'd like to say most of the effects aren't that bad. They are good. The actual setup for them, if they had been done practically, which they were,
right.
would have been great. But there's the elephant in the room,
Let's
CG
address this now. Then let's address this now. The CGI elephant in the
in the room.
While doing research for this, even the director and the special effects people have gone, yeah, it was a mistake. We should have just stuck to our guns. Originally,
Yeah.
the film was shot with all of the thing creatures, including the one that comes out the ice and all the ones that the people turn into, were all done in the traditional animatronic prosthetic style, right? They were all done with traditional practical effects.
Basically, as the one we'll get to, the way that was done.
Like the original was done.
Yeah.
But the studio, Universal Studio,
Yeah, to screw your day.
they came in, they watched the test footage, and their conclusion was it looks too much like a 1980s movie. People aren't going to want to watch a 1980s movie in 2011. So the decision was made to cover every single practical effect they've done in the film with CGI. And for me,
Yeah,
it's not good CGI, even
no.
by 2011 standards. It's not
Yeah.
good CGI. Some of it looks almost as bad as PlayStation 2 graphics, in my opinion.
I think the worst part of the film, they go into the ship.
The Tetris block thing.
It looks like an 8-bit massacre.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to, and I've gone and had a look what was practically supposed to be there.
It was the original pilot that crashed the ship trying to kill the thing.
And the original, like the sort of that original version of it, I think looks better. I think I tracked it down somewhere on the YouTube.
There are pictures of it online.
There are pictures of it. I've managed to find one. I looked at it. I was like, hang on, that was what was covered by the 8-bit monstrosity I viewed. Why would you make this decision?
The biggest problem for me with it is the studio turning around and saying it looks like a 1980s movie. As the director, if it were me, I would have turned around and gone, excuse me, but
it's based on one.
This is meant to be a prequel to a 1980s movie. If all of a sudden we've got these superior computer graphics spewing everywhere, people are not going to doing it like we did, where we watched the two back to back.
Yeah,
there's disconnect between
and that's what I found.
This version compared to what you see in the original version, and even you've stated, well, we watched it. The effects are better in the original.
Yeah,
And
no,
are,
once
they are.
we got part way through the original 82, I was like, this is a lot better.
Exactly. So
This
they should
holds up a lot better.
have.
It and to tangent alert, right? A tangent, right? This is the same argument that I personally hold a little bit with some of the Star Trek fandom, right? When they did go back to Enterprise, when you look back on Enterprise now, all the comments of, well, it looks basic, they've got push buttons and that. Yeah, it's because it's 200 years before
Yeah,
Kirk.
it's set in the past. It's
It's
set
set in the
before
past.
the
So
events.
they're
Like,
not using the top end special effects. They're going back to that because that's the
yeah,
technology we've got. They've done the same thing again, but they've gone this way about it with like the 2011 thing and CGI'd it. You look at Strange New Worlds, it's still a bit jarring for me to look at the Bridge of the Enterprise with Captain Pike on there in its current format because it looks too up to date compared to the 60s version.
yes, the continuity's not there.
And the continuity is like, why would you
Yeah,
rip out all the touchpad screens and put button pushers? Why would you do that?
exactly.
You know, and it's the same with this film. It's like, honestly, I would have argued that point. This is based on an 82 film.
Yeah,
Let's at least
link it
base
up as
part
much.
of the special effects at what they had.
Yeah,
Which,
just
when we'll get to
make
that, that
it.
was a lot better anyway. But
Yeah, just to make it sort of flow and
yeah,
look
it
more
fits
like
and
that
flows.
original film. And I honestly think, right, we're in 2025 at the minute. This film came out in 2011. By 2031, that film's going to be 20 years old. And I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
only hope, fingers crossed, as sort of like an anniversary edition or something, Universal go, you know what? Let's re-release the film on DVD.
Let's release the both of them in
No, no, no. Well, no.
a
Just this
box.
one. Just this one, right? Re-release it, but with the original effects intact.
Yeah.
Put put it back to how it should have looked. And I can guarantee you that one will do better than this one did.
It'll do better the second time round. Because I mean, honestly, like I say, my first take, the acting from the guys, the act fantastic. The story, okay, you're going over some old things from what you know, you revisiting, but it's like you can watch this on its own
Yeah.
or as a start point. So for me, because I watched it in 2025 back to back the way I did, this plays out story wise better. And
Yeah.
if I
See,
was going to go and watch it and revisit it, I think I would still go and watch this film first and then watch
the original.
the
Yeah.
the 82. Yeah. You know, I'd still watch it in that order because it's just because the continuity detail is really on
Yeah.
point, bar
Look,
one little thing we'll come up with.
as it shifts from one film to the next, because this
Yeah,
spoiler alert, the
yeah,
camp gets destroyed. And for me, the fascinating thing about watching the camp disintegrate and get burnt down as the climax of the film is happening,
yeah, yeah,
is you know that it's only going to be X amount of time later, a few days later,
yeah,
where the Americans come and check this place out. And
yeah,
it's like, you know how all of this happened. And
yeah.
watching them discovering it for the first time, you get a bit more sense of, oh,
Oh, oh,
yeah,
oh. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember.
So, like, but this one ends with, again, a bit of a continuity error, right? It shows at the end of this film that
Yeah,
the thing gets back to its ship, it tries to escape, it fires up the engines, and it melts all the ice above it,
which reveals the ship.
which reveals the ship. They end up stopping it. Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, Kate, I think her name is, she ends up besting the thing, gets into a snowcat, and sets to drive off towards a Russian base.
Yeah,
Then it fades to black, but then it fades back in again,
yeah, yeah.
and you see a Norwegian chopper coming into land, picking up the last surviving member, Lars, as he shoots after a dog. The helicopter takes off and pursues the dog, and then the credits start rolling because that is where we roll into John
This thing.
Carpenter's classic horror masterclass original, like I say original, a remake of the Howard Hawks film,
Yeah.
his version of the thing. And this for me is just Chef's kiss, perfect horror. But for the numbers, The Thing, originally released on June 25th, 1982, with a budget of 15 million, a box office of 19.6 million. So not a failure, but not a success neither. It found fame later on the home video market, home entertainment, DVD re-releases.
Might tangent later and get into that later, but because I've done some research.
Starring Kurt Russell, Wilfred Brimley, Keith David, and a fair few others that I didn't list because I ran out of time. But
there are quite again. This one's got quite a few well-known actors for the time.
Yes, but the setup for this one is there is an American research camp in the Arctic Circle, Outpost 31. It's got a motley little crew, kind of, looking after the place. You've got the helicopter pilot McCready. You've got Doc. You've got Windows. You've got Niles. You've got Child. You've got a fair decently sized cast, and a sort of cast of who's who of like late 80s, early 90s stuff. They like people just popped up everywhere after his film.
Like this is a rare acting role for Keith David.
Yeah, well, he was more of an actor before he was a voice actor.
Yeah.
This and They Live are two of his best performances, in my opinion. But anyway. So the premise of the story is following on from the last one, you see the Norwegians chasing the dog, shooting at it. The dog runs to the American outpost. The helicopter pilot lands. He's shouting in Norwegian. They don't understand him. He ends up accidentally blowing up his own helicopter with the pilot inside, and then he gets shot, killed. And the Americans take in the dog. We, as the audience, after watching the prequel, know that this dog is a thing. If you'd watch this film just on its own, you'd be like, why was that guy shooting at that dog? Which, bit of trivia I know here, actually. The film got completely spoiled in Norway because the guy at the beginning was shouting Norwegian, and obviously American audience don't know what he's shouting about, but the Norwegian audience could understand every fucking word of it, and he was basically saying, that's not a dog, it's an alien creature, it's going to kill you all. So the film was completely spoiled in the first few minutes in fucking Norway.
It's a little bit like, and sorry tangent, a little bit about the trivia with Star Wars, whereby the Dutch maybe knew the what was coming with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, because Darth Vader, I believe Vader is their word for father.
Yes.
So it's like Dark Father,
Yeah.
and it's like a little bit of a spoiler.
Back to the film.
But back to the thing.
What ensues is a fight for survival, paranoia filled, because you don't know who's a thing and who's not a thing. Because the one thing we haven't mentioned, if you've never watched The Thing, is The Thing is called The Thing because there's an alien thing that attaches itself to you, devours you, and then becomes you, or can replicate you. We think there's multiple things.
There's a number of theories on that particular.
Yeah, there's a whole rabbit hole about exactly what the creature is. So, but it reveals itself out of the dog form in the first big practical effect showcase of the film, and it is gory and
as all
hell, and it's on a first time viewing. Well, we'll jump into it, Jimmy. Your first time viewing of The Thing, 1982. When you got to that dog scene.
The Duffer Brothers have got to have watched this film because that flower open.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Process, and then it's like tendrils everywhere, and but it's like it's the build up as well for this.
Yeah.
The dog walks in and it's trying to mimic. It's like this thing knows what it is at this point, and it's trying to mimic, but the dogs know. It's an enemy that knows.
Yeah.
And then it decides, okay, ace cards down, off we go.
Go on the attack.
This film, I like this. That's the other thing about these films, The Thing. It's okay, it's an alien monster, technically, but I feel the real danger is the paranoia
the other people around you.
It's the paranoia of
Yes.
that's the real thing that really gets through on this.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
who is who, who's not who.
Yeah. That tone carries all the way through the film, and you're
Yeah,
like, at some point, you're like, I honestly don't know who's the thing and who's not. And then
yeah.
when it's revealed who is, you're kind of like, wow,
Well,
shit.
shit me. Yeah,
Yeah.
like how did I not spot that? Or you know what I mean? This is a film. They both. This is why I would rewatch the first one again, right? Simply for partly for continuity, going through to this one.
Yeah.
They did accurately do that for the most part. Couple of slips,
Yes.
but going through to this one as well is literally like one big story. It's like on a second viewing, I know who's who now, but am I going to be able to potentially spot clues as to how
It's
and when
definitely a
or
film.
why?
It is definitely a film that lends itself very, very well to.
Yeah, I mean, with the ending of this second one, there are still theories about them last two.
Oh yeah, that it's hotly
Nobody knows.
today. It's a hotly debated topic of who's
Yeah,
the thing, were both of them things, were neither of them things, was one of them. It I've even heard a sort of tangent here a little bit. I even heard one theory is that a thing copy doesn't have a little twinkle in their eyes
yeah,
because if you look at when it's outside and they're shooting at the humans, all the humans have this little twinkle to their eyes.
yeah,
But then certain characters don't have that.
yeah,
And later on in the film, they turn out to be things. So right at the end, it's believed that Charles is a thing because he doesn't have that sparkling in his eyes. And I'm like, that's a paper fucking thin theory, that is. I mean,
yeah.
you've gone through that film literally scene by scene at that point to look at everyone's eyes in every scene to see if there's a
Yeah,
twinkle
if you're
there.
going with that theory, that's what you'd have to do. I
Like that,
mean,
that's a bit much. That's a bit
again,
obsessive.
on the still carrying with that tangent, it's the where he passes him the whiskey glass at the end.
Yeah, the
Was
bottle.
that was that whiskey in there, or was that a Molotov? Because if it's a Molotov and he's drank it, and it's like that smile at the end is, I know what you are, and I'm going to make sure you're dead because that's poison.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are
Whereas there's the idea is
hotly
that
debated,
could be, they could be McCready and he doesn't know he's a thing yet, or he hasn't worked it out yet. Because there's that theory as well.
but after that event, they decide to go to the Norwegian base and see the
Yeah,
destruction that we've just seen in the previous film. And the continuity is pretty good with like
yeah.
certain little nods and bits here and there, and I
We
got it.
have one continuity.
But this is where we're going to talk about it. In the original film, they find footage that the Norwegians had shot,
Yes.
and it shows you them standing on the outline of where the ship is.
Yeah.
Then it shows you a scene of dynamite going off, and then it cuts off. And they go outside and they see the ship, which was a beautiful, beautiful map painting.
Yeah.
But they see what the Norwegians had found. So it's implied in the original that they blew up the ship, the top part, so they could see down into where the ship was with dynamite.
Yeah.
But the prequel retcons that a little bit by saying, "Oh no, it was the blaster engines from the ship before
Yeah.
the ship got."
It happens during the events of the thing is attempting
Prequel,
to escape.
yeah,
In
and
in the prequel, the thing's trying to escape. Two of the Norwegian guys follow it, stop it, but it does manage to get its engines going,
yeah, to melt the
and
ice.
that melts the ice.
Yeah,
So
but
that's it. At which point that scene wouldn't happen with them all lined up round it. And it's
exactly.
like that's
So
the only continuity error that
yeah,
really tracks. But other
yeah,
than
that was
that,
the one that stood out for me.
that's the one that's the standout one. And I'm
Yeah.
willing to forgive one for the rest of the story and the absolute artistry to detail of the guy in the chair, the axe.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I watched that the first time, but then like I say, because I've watched these the first time watches, I've got that one, then the 82. When it came to the 82
see
and
where
they
it lines up.
visited, and I was like, there's the axe,
Yeah, there's the guy in the chair.
there's the guy in the chair, there's that,
There's the ice block. There's
there
the
and the
hole in
ice
the
block,
roof.
there the ice block and the thing in it, yeah, the
Yeah,
hole in the everything is
It all tracked exactly. So
tracks.
I like that level of continuity on that
Yeah,
regard. But the way that the ship was uncovered, like I said, in the original, it very much is shown that they blew up something with dynamite
yeah,
and the ship was there. So I don't know whether that was just something they missed or they went, well, mate, a little bit of dynamite wouldn't make it such a clean cut. Like I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to this day it's still one of those things where I don't like how that sits in my brain. I
yeah,
prefer the original idea of they blasted it out of the ice, they
yeah,
found the ship, and then they found the pilot. Whereas the prequel makes it look like it's the other way around. They found the pilot and then the ship thing happened later.
yeah. I
I
mean,
don't like that.
for me, I like the way the prequel set that up.
Mm,
I like the prequel set up to it. The only thing I've got is obviously because the 82 it's 82 and they've already released it. And they've gone to that level of continuity originally. I think I would prefer them to have stuck the guns with that and
yeah.
have the dynamite and you know what I mean. Maybe I mean, at the Norwegian camp, them finding the pilot first is perfectly fine. But then when they find the pilot and then a few hundred yards the other way, they find that. So I feel like maybe they should have found the pilot, then blown that up.
I don't
That
know.
would have been why the filming.
I don't know.
But
That was in the prequel. That's their problem.
yeah, it's their problem to deal with. I've
Hey,
just
they
realised we
fucked it
haven't
up. It's
scored
their
either one
problem.
yet.
But not going to spoil too much more of the rest of the
Yeah,
film. But basically, going forward, like we said, it is that paranoia of
yeah.
who's a thing, who's
Who's
not.
a thing? Who's not a thing?
And it is a fantastic watch. It's full of paranoia, suspicion, the practical effects on show with the Norris thing with the chest opening and get the double arms bitten off.
Yeah.
The head thing crawling away, which to
The
this day
spider head.
I still love that line as the spider head thing's running away. Palmer just looks at it and goes, "You gotta be fucking kidding me."
That is
There are a few quotable lines for me in this. The one that always gets me to this day is a Wilfred Brimble, the legendary actor.
yeah.
When he's shooting the gun in the communications room, the way he shouts, I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
It cracks me up. And my favorite line in it is after they've done the blood test and everything's gone crazy.
Yeah.
They've had to burn like two more people. They've lost two more fucking people. You've got Gary sat on the couch, tied up. They
Yeah.
test his blood. He's not a thing. And he goes, I know you gentlemen have been under a lot of stress, but if it's all right with you, I would like it if I didn't spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch. I think it was really calm again. He's really calm up until he gets to the fucking couch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is.
I love that bit.
I do like the fact that that man's doing that, and he even admits everybody's been through a hell of a lot at this point. But even he's been through it. He's been there with them from the beginning. You know, so it's like, can you not tie me to this now? Can we get on with the job? You know, it is funny that.
Oh, but yeah, this film is absolute horror classic. As you can tell, just the way we talk about it here, there is nothing but love for this film.
Yeah.
Right, going on.
Which there wasn't a lot of love back in '82 when it was.
No, it was like I said, it wasn't a box office flop, but nor was it a success.
Yeah.
It sort of did all right.
Yeah.
Got a little bit slated by the critics for being slow paced and not a lot of action. It wasn't meant to have a lot of action. It was meant to be more of a
Psychological.
get inside your head a little bit and then show you a bit of body horror with the.
And on the research, finding that it's probably because of all the 82 hits there were. There was Blade Runner, E.T. and
there was a lot of science.
Tron.
Yeah, it was a bit of a slow burn in an otherwise action heavy year, unfortunately.
We didn't score either of the films this week.
We're going to in a minute. We're going
to in a minute. Oh, okay.
Circling back round to that. Circling back round.
I'm sorry. I'm telling her off about that.
Right. Because you've not really played it, but I have. There was The Thing, the game.
The game.
Released on PS2, Xbox, and I do believe GameCube back in the day.
Yes. Might have
This
even been a 360 release, not an Xbox One.
no, it was an original Xbox One. I know because I had it on my original Xbox One.
There we go.
That era of gaming. This game was a third-person survival horror squad-based game, kind of squad-based. Basically, you got to explore the American camp after it had blown up. It sort of serves as a sequel, but not quite because it's not really official.
Yeah.
Because it's not a film, no one really counts it. But John Carpenter himself actually thinks that if he was going to do a sequel, this is the sort of thing he would have done with it. Not exactly like beat for beat, but the ideas that the game presented, he was like, do you know what? That would have been a good idea. That would have been something to explore. But it never happened. The game itself basically breaks down to you have a squad, you have a medic, a mechanic, an inventory guy, and you are good with guns and stuff. But there is a trust-based system where, for example, if you don't give someone a gun, but give it to somebody else, that person will start to distrust you because, oh, you don't trust them with a gun. Oh, okay. Okay. So it becomes this sort of balancing act of who do you trust? Because there are, characters that are the thing, and you have to do blood tests and all sorts of stuff. And the transformation graphics, even back in the day, were not amazing, but they got the point across. The game has recently been remastered by Night Dive Studios. I am itching to take a look at it because I did like the original game. But the storyline is pretty basic. It's investigate one site because you start at the American site, then you go to the Norwegian site, then you go to another site, then you go to another site, and then next thing you know, you're in an underground lab. And McCready makes a cameo right at the end. He's the helicopter pilot who pulls you out of the whole situation. It's a good game. Gameplay loop is good. It's fun to play. Does have you on the edge of your seat sometimes, not knowing who to trust, not knowing which character is going to be a thing or not. Because if you give them resources and stuff, and then they transform, those resources are gone.
Yeah.
So if you've given like your medic or your health packs, like, oh, you keep hold of this, you're a medic, and then he turns out to be a thing, all your med packs are gone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Problem.
So it is a very interesting game. And that's about all I have to say on it, really. But looping back round to the films, we're going to do our scoring system. We'll go with the 2011 film first. Go on, Jimmy. Your score out of 5.
2011. And it's simply for the CG. And I wrote this down and moved my nose. 2.5, kill it with fires.
2.5, kill it with fires it is then. Well, for me, I'm going to score it a little bit lower. And it's 2 shoddy, studio mandated CGI abomination replacements out of 5.
There we go.
And for the original 1980,
well, this is where this jumps up. I put 4 out of 5 fiery dog heads. I'm gonna choke you.
I'm gonna go slightly higher. I'm gonna go with 4.5. 4.5. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Out of 5.
Yeah, you could get away with a 4.5. You got to be fucking kidding me in these films.
Yes. But if you've not seen either of these films, high recommendations. If you have seen the original but not the 2011 film, just for curiosity's sake, I say check it out.
Yeah.
But just bear in mind, as we've said, the practical effects were there that were covered up with CGI. So you have to kind of go, it's crap looking, but the intention was originally there. And like I said, I hope for like an anniversary or something, they do a re-release and they restore all the practical effects.
Yeah, they turn around and decide, you know what, we mishandled this. Let's put the practical effects back in.
The director has said many, many times that he says there's 2 endings to the film from his point of view. There's the pilot version and the Tetris version. The pilot version is like you saw online, the pictures of what it was originally intended to be. That was supposed to be the original pilot of the ship. The Tetris version is the blocky
the 8-bit block monstrosity.
And even he said that just looked bad and horrible, and they should have stuck to their guns and said, no, we want to keep the practical effects, or that we're not going to finish the film. And he should have stuck to that, really. Universal made a dumb fucking call in saying that it made it look 280s. I'm sorry, but that would have helped it.
That would have helped it.
Would have helped it.
Look at Stranger Things. I've noticed on occasion, and I've seen in back tangent, seen it in background
Going off.
interviews. They literally turn around. Sometimes they'll put like stuff on the film, like cigarette burns and that, so it runs like an old 80s film
Yes, exactly.
because of its setting. So it would work and it would help this film.
Exactly. I think they should do a re-release and make it look like an original 1980s movie. And I think if they paired the two together as a double bill, like we did, with those original effects intact, and okay, maybe lightly touched up with CG just to round off some.
Like they, do that kind of a thing. Release it on an anniversary in a double pack. Bring the practical effects and downscale it. Technically downscale, and then upscale the other one. Perfect combo.
There you go. But right, that's been it for our journey through the world of The Thing, both versions.
I recommend
both. It's confusing when every entry in the Thing franchise is called The Thing.
The Thing. Yeah.
The only one that differentiates itself is the original one, because it is the full title is The Thing from Another World. It's only these other two that are both called The Thing.
And the video game.
Yeah, and the video game is also called The Thing. So
it does make searching for things, background information, quite difficult.
Yeah, you've got The Thing from Another World, followed by The Thing, and The Thing.
Yeah.
You have to be specific when researching this. You have to put the year. But anyway, that is it for our Thing episode. Coming up next week, we are going to do a horror remake triple bill, and you'll find out what those films are next week. So
I'll find out very shortly.
You will find out in the interim moments as we're finished recording. Yes.
Homework, guys.
It's time to say goodnight, Jimmy.
Night, Jimmy.
Good night, my sweet tortured souls. And remember, if you can't be good, be twisted. Don't get mad, baby. Get sadistic. Mwah. Love ya. See you in the next episode.